are soulful, legendary in our own right, and undeniably funky. Home to an experience like no other. And nestled on the warm banks of the mighty Savannah River, Augusta is calling you. Welcome to a place of charm and opportunity. In a customized experience. Here we build, think, grow, and forge. Augusta University, an experience like no other.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Neil McKinnon. I'm a professor and the provost at Augusta University. And for some of you, this is probably actually the first time that you've seen me. So if it is, I want to thank you for coming, whether you're here in person or those of you who are joining us via live stream as well. I've heard that the fall kickoff is kind of a big thing. Is that true? Yeah. So there we go. So this is my first fall kickoff, so we're going to try to certainly make this a big thing. I want you to leave here more informed, energized, and just excited about the future of Augusta University. And before we kind of head into it, I do want to give a special shout out, a thank you to our institutional effectiveness team, to the provost's office, to communications and marketing, as well as IT, Joshua over there, who's manning the fort, and our host here at the Cyber Center. Well, as you know, for many of you, I just joined in December, moved to Augusta in December, started in January as your provost. And I just, first of all, just wanted to thank each one of you. I don't know if it's Southern hospitality or it's your culture here in Augusta and AU, but you've been just so incredibly warm and welcoming to my wife and I and our 3 teen daughters. You know, it's not easy moving 3 teen daughters halfway through a school year during a pandemic. I wasn't dad of the year in January, okay? But, our oldest daughter has a boyfriend now, and it's funny how that just changes everything. So life is pretty good, but I do want to, thank you for that. You have been just an incredible community, and, certainly as we welcome others, you'll see some new faces on this presentation as well. Continue to reach out to them with the same warmth that you've reached out to my family and I. It's interesting that my first few months here, a lot of it has just been listening and learning about you. And part of that was a tour of the colleges and schools. I toured each of our 10 colleges and schools over a 10-week period, half a day. I let the deans dictate the itinerary, and man, you really shone in those tours. The creativity, the excitement, the fun. That word fun was definitely a common theme among the tours. Thank you for all that you did in those tours. And since then, I've been touring a lot of the supporting units. I still have a few more to go. I know tomorrow evening, my wife and I will be spending part of the evening with athletics. So if you're athletics, you've heard the charge, make it fun. The bar is pretty high. But again, that's been just so informative to me to hear from each one of you, your dreams for the university. In addition to those, I've also done kind of a more informal listening tour, listening to faculty, staff, and students. And again, those have been just incredibly valuable to me to hear what you're proud of here at AU, what we can do better on. And that's important for me to hear as well as your desire and goals for the future. Part of this, as well as the provost, I'm the chief academic officer of the university, and I figured a good way for me to really represent you is to go back to the classroom. And so my first semester, I taught 7 classes and across 5 colleges. On Wednesday, when classes start, I'll be teaching, like some of you, teaching a guest lecture in an 8 a.m., not sure how I got that time slot, lecture in the College of Nursing, so looking forward to that. And again, that's just been fantastic to connect with our students. And for the faculty that have invited me to the classroom, I apologize for the decrease in your evaluation score, so we can talk about that later. One other thing I learned about AU is you guys love podcasts. I've never been in a place that has so many podcasts, and being interviewed by this probably set some sort of world record as far as number of podcast interviews. But it has been fun, engaging, a great way to reach out to our broader community. And I've also reached out beyond Augusta. So those of you who might be joining via the live stream in our medical partnership in Athens or the College of Nursing in Athens, thank you for your hospitality. And you can see on the far right, I actually found, it's not quite spelled exactly correctly, but a community in Georgia called McKinnon. Who in the audience has been to McKinnon? That's what I thought, okay? It's not like Savannah, it's not like Helena, it's not a big tourist destination. It's actually in Wayne County. Anybody from Wayne County here in the room? No one, okay. So Wayne County is by Jessup, kind of near Brunswick. It takes about 10 seconds to drive through McKinnon. The pine trees outnumber the houses probably by 1,000 to 1. But I did it. So that was on my bucket list. I went through McKinnon, Georgia. Also survived my first planning and resource alignment hearing. So thank you, IE, for the survival kit. That was appreciated. It was a long week, but a very informative week. And thank you to the rest of the AU leadership team who kind of sat through those, I think it was 18 hours of meetings that week as well. Well, it's interesting. Last fall when I interviewed here, of course, I met President Keel. We had dinner and met each other. But, you're probably like me. When you take a new job, you're not really sure 100% what your boss is going to be like, right? And he probably had the same doubt about me as well, my Canadian accent there. But I've just been so blessed where, President Keel, you've heard him say this before, our priorities are our patients and our students. I can tell you he walks the talk on that. Whether it's behind closed doors in your office, part of the discussion at the President's Executive Cabinet, he keeps us focused on that and engaged. And, I've brought a lot of ideas to him since January. He has been incredibly supportive of that. So I'm just so grateful to President Keel. At this time, I'd like to invite him up just to share a few words. Please join me in welcoming your president, Dr. Brooks Keel.
Do I have any slides?
Yeah, the strategic plan.
Okay. Do I have slides? I'm good. Well, good afternoon, Jaguar Nation. Thank you so much for giving me a chance to spend a little time with you here today. This really is the provost meeting, and I want to respect that, but I'm going to take as much time as I want because I'm the president. So, and those of you that know me know that there's no doubt about that. How many folks are new here? If you faculty, staff, raise your hand. Raise them up high. Great. Thank you. We do have a few new folk, and that's one of the great things about this particular event is it gives us a chance to welcome new faculty and new staff to our university as we begin to welcome new students across campus even as we speak. And I want to welcome you to my university. Now, let me tell you what I mean by that. This is my university. My undergraduate degree was from Augusta College, which is what it was called at the time. With BS in biology, minor chemistry, and went down the hill. Of course, the Augusta College is up on the hill. It's Harvard on the hill, we used to call it. And I went down the hill and got my PhD for the Medical College of Georgia. So I am president of both of my undergraduate and graduate alma maters. And what a real thrill and an honor it is for me to be in this position and standing before you. So this is my university. And I hope that all of you, whether you've been here for a few weeks or for a few decades, that you will see it as your university as well. We have an awful lot to be proud of, an awful lot to be grateful for. And that's really my purpose of being here. There was a study done once about the relationship between how close students sit to the front of the class in their grades compared to those who sit at the back of the class in their grades. And Dr. Davis, you're going to do pretty good here, but you folks at the top, not so much. So sorry about that. I have a slide or two, and I'm going to bring this up right now if I can here. Yes, strategic planning. Let me tell you about some of the great things that are going to be happening over the next several months that will tee us up for what's going to be happening over the next several years. We are in a major planning phase for our university. The current strategic plan we have is winding down, and we're really excited about that. But now is the time to really start preparing for what the next 5 years of this university and the greater enterprise is going to look like. So the strategic plan is based around several pillars that you see here. And you see the timeline that we have here. We're just getting started with this. We're at a point where I think we kind of got the skeleton of it. Now it's time for you to help put the actual meat on those bones. And please stay tuned for that. It's going to be a wonderful opportunity for us to truly set the stage for what will be the next 5 years of this university. And this university is very unique. All universities are unique, and I'll tell you that. But this one is more uniquer. I did get my degree here, Dr. Kelleher. You may not be so proud of that right now, but I did. It is more unique for a lot of reasons. We are an 8-year-old university with over 190-year history, and there aren't many places that can truly say that. And we have the opportunity, all of us in this room and throughout this campus, to determine what this university is going to actually look like. I don't know any other place in time that's more exciting than that. And we really depend on each and every one of you to help us do just that. So I look forward to seeing how the strategic plan will come together, and look forward to seeing your input into that as well. This is based around, and again, these pillars won't be a surprise to you: learning, community, student success, stewardship, and discovery. And it's now time to bring all of those together. And going throughout all of these pillars is innovation, engagement, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Each of those things are embedded in all of these 6 or 7 pillars or so that you see here. So it's very important that we have your input, and I'm really excited about how this is going to come together for us. So I think that's all the slides I have. Good. So I'm going to quit with the slides. Again, thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for being a part of Augusta University. We are in a great place to be. In addition to strategic planning, we're going to be looking at research planning. We got an enrollment management planning exercise going on. Our health system is looking at how to best position itself now and in the future. And by the way, we've got a hospital to build in Columbia County. So there's a lot of great things going on. I look forward to being with you over this next several period of time as we plan this and as we implement this plan. So thank you very much for being here, and go Jags!
All right. Well, it's definitely an exciting time in Life University when we engage in the creation of a new strategic plan. So as the president shared with you, this is the timeline. One thing I'll mention as well, later today, do not delete or ignore this email. There'll be an email going to each one of you asking for your input on kind of the rough framework that the president has shared. We want to hear from you. It's not too late. This is kind of early stages in the process, and this will really help shape and inform our strategic plan moving forward. So thank you, President Keel, for your leadership. It's an exciting time to create a new strategic plan that will really guide us over the next 5+ years. All right, so the next bit of the presentation, I've got kind of something special planned for the last 10 minutes, but to get us there, really want to cover 3 primary things with you: a calling like no other, an experience like no other, and a future like no other. Do you detect a theme going on there? So let's start with a calling like no other. You know, the word calling is an interesting word. And of course, the faculty that are here, where are our new faculty? Maybe raise your hands. Okay, so we've got a few of you that were at the faculty orientation. So I told you this was coming. I repeat, it's not a test, but I reviewed this with them earlier this week in this room last week. And this definition of a calling comes from Webster's dictionary. I'll just read it. It's a strong inner impulse toward a particular course of action, especially when accompanied by conviction of divine influence. A calling. I believe as individuals, either sitting in this room or sitting in wherever you're sitting, listening to the live stream, each one of us has a calling, and a calling that brought you to Augusta University. Now, I don't know if it was maybe an ad you responded to, maybe you had a colleague at AU that recruited you here, or maybe you did hear that voice in your head saying, go to AU. Whatever that calling was, you are here. And also collectively, we have a special calling as well. We're a public research university. And really, we have the best of both worlds. Like the president said, we're distinct. We're Georgia's only public academic health center and one of only 4 research public universities. That makes us distinct and separates us. But at the same time, we're also blessed because we're a comprehensive university. So to me, Again, we have the best of both worlds within that calling of a public research university. So I would argue we're united in our calling, but we're also not uniform, which is good, right? Some of you are staff. Some of you are faculty. Some of you are in leadership roles. We come from many different disciplines. We come from 4 campuses here in Augusta and more across the state, right? In Athens, in Brunswick, in Savannah, in Albany, in Rome, in Dalton. How's that for a new guy, okay? So we got the campuses covered. So again, we're really blessed. We're united in our calling. We're not uniform. We're here on purpose for a purpose, and when you know that you're somewhere and you have a distinct purpose, that's empowering. So again, that is our calling. Related to our calling are our values. Now, I'm not going to do a show of hands who has seen or heard about the AU values before. Luckily, President Keel has not asked me to get a tattoo yet with the values, but that might be coming if I fail miserably. But when I think of this, again, this is something certainly as the leadership team we try to exemplify. This is not something on a one slide that looks nice, but we try to live. And I'll just share with you how I try to do that. On a regular basis, I do some self-reflection. It's usually the first Wednesday of every month. I actually spend time going through these one by one and ask myself how I'm doing. I'll just use an example, integrity. So when I make a promise, can people trust me with that promise? When I say I'm going to do something, do I follow up and do something? That's integrity. And when you work with people that have integrity and you can trust them, that's a game changer. So for each one of us, we can do it in our own way. I would ask you to do your own inventory. How are you doing living out these 6 core values of Augusta University? All right, so we've talked about our calling, our special mission in life, why we're here united at Augusta University. Let's then talk about our experience, looking back over the past year, what we've done. And of course, it goes without saying, it's been an experience like no other due to COVID, and something that continues to challenge us here today. At the same time, we are blessed, as you've heard the president say on multiple occasions, we're part of a health system with Augusta AU Health, nearing over 300,000 COVID tests, nearing 75,000 COVID vaccines, something that we can be proud of amidst this pandemic. And for those of you that are more academic based on the teaching side, it's been a challenging year from that regard as well. You can see that, 2 years ago, right, 85% of our classes were in person. There was a lot of change last year as far as quickly adjusting to online and continuing online instruction for many of you through last fall and last spring. And now we've adjusted again and pivoted back. And who knows? Next week could bring more changes, or the week after that. I appreciated, the president was very open with us in the town hall last Thursday. As he said, he doesn't have all the answers. We don't have all the answers. The CDC guidance is changing almost on a daily basis. The guidance we get from the USG on what we're allowed to do as a university is also changing. And that is exhausting. So I want to say thank you to each one of you for thriving amid the chaos, and we will get through this together. There have been a few others that have joined AU besides myself and the leadership team. And if they're in the room, just ask them to raise their hands. Barry, Nancy, Kate, and Seth. Just put your hands up if you're here in the room. All right, so we've got Nancy there at least. Okay, very good. Thank you for choosing AU during a pandemic as far as relocating and joining our family. And a few others have had internal promotions. I believe Kim and Gagan are here today. So Dean Davies. Now, I'm biased, of course. You were a great hire. I was going to put that out there. But in all seriousness, fantastic. Thank you for being part of our family in this newer role. And Dr. Egerwall, is he here in the room? He's way in the back. Okay. He is the inaugural Associate Dean of Research at the School of Computer and Cyber Science. It's a brand new appointment just within over the summer. So thanks to both of you. Congratulations for your new roles. All right, so this is where we get a little bit of trivia and start to make this fun. Okay, so I'm going to test you to see how well you know AU before I start sharing some information with you. So I've got 4 questions, and of course, I came with some prizes. Now, how many of you like chocolate? Put up your hand if you like chocolate. Okay, that's almost the entire room for those live streaming who can't see. How many of you like coffee? I'd say the same number. And yeah, Dr. Keller is even standing in the front, okay? What if you could put chocolate and coffee and chocolate together? Wouldn't that be a cool thing? Well, again, I'm originally from Canada. One of our top-selling chocolate bars is called Coffee Crisp. And we've got some lovely assistants here showing this. This will change your life. I'm just telling you now, okay? So if you're ready for a life-changing experience, then you better get a question right. And so I'm going to ask some questions. Now, I know this is a little bit hard. It's not really fair. So you're going to have to yell out louder than anyone else in the room. And I will give you a thumbs up that if you're a little bit low, or a thumbs down if you're too high, okay, to give some guidance. Okay, the first one. What percent of AU students are from the CSRA? What percent? Okay, it's below 50. It's higher than 45. Do I hear a 47 somewhere? Okay, I think over here. So, yeah. All right, congratulations. It's 47%. Man, you are good at. Well, okay. Okay, we'll give one to her up there now. That means I'm gonna have to go down to 3 questions. Yeah, give her your other one if you don't mind. That's okay. No, this guy, you both deserve it. You both got it right. Wow, look at the act of collegiality there. He gave away his chocolate bar. Let's give him a special shout out. If you send an email to Sherry Walker later today, I will ensure you get a coffee crisp, sir. All right, number 2. How many academic programs do we offer at AU? 150. Who said 154? Do you work in IE? Oh, it's on there. That's kind of cheating, but it's okay. We'll give you it. So up there. That's true. A little cheat sheet. All right, that's fine. We'll go with that. So 154 is right. We'll talk a little bit more of that in a little bit. Maybe I should. That's probably my fault. I should look and see what materials. Well, hopefully this next one wasn't on that sheet as well, or I feel bad. How many staff work at AU? Is that on the sheet? No. Okay, thank you. How many staff work at AU? More than 1,000? Less than 9,000? Less than 6,000? Somebody said 4,748. Who said that? Oh, Dr. Keller here did. Okay. Nicely done. Oh, no, you can give him he deserves. We know Dr. Keller here loves chocolate, so. Do we have one bar left up there? Is that right? Okay, this is the last one, last chance. And Dr. Diamond, you cannot answer this question. What percent increase in research funding have we seen since 2016? More than 15%? More than 19? More than 25? More than 50? Who said 60? Okay, it's 61%. We'll give that to you. Okay, right over here. All right. Well, congratulations. You guys definitely know AU, so that's fantastic. Even with the cheat sheet, that's okay. So, all right. Well, let's dive a little bit deeper then and see how we're doing, how our experience has been. Enrollment growth. So, President Keel, I'm pleased to announce to you and everyone else that this will be our 6th consecutive year of enrollment growth at AU. So I want to thank Dr. Davies. I don't know if Dr. Pope is in the room, and others as part of the whole enrollment team. And of course, each one of you in your own way. Many of you are making personal connections. Some of you even brought children. I know it's Dean Sullivan here. Her daughter started this fall. So here we got even personal examples of recruiting students. So this is an increased course. This is not our absolute final number yet. We'll know that as far as census day, but it's looking good. We've also had a huge change in our student body. If you look back since 2013, a 28% increase in student minorities. So as far as a very diverse student body, which should be commended. Obviously, the ladies in here outnumber the guys, 64% female to 36% male. Yeah, that's okay. You give a shout out. That's all right. And then far as where the students are from, 90% from Georgia, and it's one of the questions was 47% from the CRSA as well. When we look beyond the numbers, as well as how well are our students doing, there's different ways we can measure that. One way is to look at our first-year students. Do they finish the year and come back the next year? And that's first-year freshman retention. And you can see we've been consistent. Now, the provost part of me would say, we really could be doing a better job here, and that's absolutely true. At the same time, those last two numbers, I think we should take a step back and take some pride, though. This is during a pandemic, right? And so the fact that we've been able to keep it steady, and in fact, raise it a little bit during a pandemic, that is commendable for sure. But certainly this is an area that's gotten my attention, and we'll be spending more time in this. If we look at 4-year graduation rates and 6-year, the same thing. We've come a long way. We should be proud of the progress we've made. But at the same time, if you're like me, this bothers you, right? This bothers me to know that we're losing this many students, that only 25% of our students graduate in 4 years and only 50% in 6 years. So certainly this is something I think as a collective, as a group, we need to be more focused and pay more attention. And I'll be talking about some strategies later on. Another way to look at this is progression, freshman to sophomore, those that have 30 plus more credit hours. Again, good news. We've made a lot of progress since consolidation, up to 63.2% in our last cohort. But again, this means that we are losing an awful lot of freshman students. Saturday, I spent part of Saturday here doing a game with the freshmen, Jaguar Pursuit. I know many of you did in the room. It was a lot of fun. But, that's really sad to think that the students that I just saw on Saturday, many of them will not be here a year from now. And so we need to do a better job at ensuring our students are successful. Behind the scenes, we do offer an awful lot of support for this. And this is not meant to be an all-inclusive list. I'm sure I've left somebody off here, but just look at this list behind the scenes to support our students. Jaguar Jumpstart, Gateways to Completion, our honors program, undergraduate research, 4 to Finish, career services, first and second year experience, international education, academic advising, libraries, Center for Instruction and Innovation, academic engagement, academic success center, and writing center. These are our unsung heroes. If there's anyone in the room who works or touches this space, could you please stand to be recognized? Those who work in this space, any one of these. If we're going to move the needle on those stats that I just showed you, it's going to be in large part due to the work of these individuals. So thank you very much for what you do. New academic programs. We've got some new students this fall that were not here before because the programs didn't exist. So we have 2 new degrees, Masters of Science in Epidemiology. I should be able to pronounce that. That's my home department, Population Health Sciences. And our first PhD program in the School of Computer and Cyber Sciences. What a signature moment for that school to have its first doctorate program. We also have a new certificate in music industry studies and a new concentration in social media influence in our Masters of Arts in Intelligence and Security Studies. Some of those students were in this room Friday evening. And, of course, this is the answer to one of those trivia questions. Number of academic programs. You can see the growth we've had, which is significant since consolidation. Now, this is actually a little bit of a fib, so I'm going to fess up with you. We actually have 153. But tomorrow at the Board of is that Dr. Kistling down there? Yes. Wes is going to go to the Board of Regents meeting along with President Keel, and I'm confident we're going to have a complete one-sided vote in favor of adopting a new bachelor's in film and digital storytelling. It's been almost a 2-year wait. So I'm going to be very excited. We exchanged text numbers earlier. We're going to text each other tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to hopefully hearing that. If not, I'll have to go back and change the slide, and we'll have to console each other. Our Medical College of Georgia is in the midst of 2 significant changes at the same time. What's the first change? The first change is a change in class size. And you can see this is happening right now. So, for example, this summer, 10 new students over last year here in Augusta, and 10 new students starting in our Athens campus. ramping up to 300 students. Now this is not just fitting more students into a classroom. This is more clinical sites, rotations, working with our partners in the healthcare industry. This is a significant change in us becoming one of the largest medical schools in the country. And if that's not crazy enough, at the same time, they also have blown up the curriculum and have redesigned the curriculum. Going, as you know, medical school really is 4 years in most places across the country. Then you go on and do residency training. So we've shortened that to 3 years here. And in the 4th year, given the students the option of really 4 different things. You can see that. 1, they could spend that year preparing for the match. Really? Get ready for the residency match, doing homework, making contacts, meeting mentors. 2nd, they could do a 2nd degree. So they graduate with a MD and a 2nd degree. 3rd, to help address our needs in rural Georgia and primary care, is to go right into a residency. And the bonus here is that we're working towards paying their tuition if they choose this. We're not quite there yet. We have the first, I believe, is it 10 students? 8? Okay, I can see if I can count there. 8 students that have received a scholarship that we're saying, because of your commitment to meet the underserved in rural Georgia, we're going to do our part by reducing the cost of education. And then finally, pathway 4, spend that extra year doing research. So significant changes both in class size and in the curriculum at MCG. Research, man, this is another exciting slide to share with you today. And so if you look at this goes back to 2016. By the way, this slide is in millions of dollars, not just actual dollars. And so if you look at 2016, collectively, our researchers in total awards brought in $107 million. And you can see that was fairly consistent over the next 4 years. Then last year, Provost Kaufman shared with you a huge increase, right? Up to $159 million. Now, some of you, perhaps more skeptical in the room, might have thought, well, maybe that was just a couple of big grants. Maybe we had a lucky year. Look at this past year, $181 million, a brand new record for our university. And at this time, I'd like to give a shout out to Michael Diamond in the research enterprise behind him. And also any of you that are either PI or co-investigator on a grant, I'd ask for you to stand. So again, if you're a researcher with a grant or part of the research enterprise. This is a huge success. I mean, when many research universities are flat, even declining, we know how competitive, right, getting grants are. This is a major accomplishment. But at the same time, we're not content with this. And with President Keel's vision and leadership, one of our first conversations, I don't know if you remember President Keel in your office, we talked about, how do we need to kind of continue this ascent? He gave me the permission to kind of explore creating a cluster. I challenged Drs. Diamond and Dean Hess to develop a cluster. I said, I don't care the topic, but it has to cut across colleges and has to be interdisciplinary. That was my criteria. About 3 weeks later, they came back with the idea for TRIBA, Transdisciplinary Research Initiative in Inflammaging and Brain Aging. Drs. Hamrick and Baban, who I see Babak is there. Is Mark here as well? Okay, so I want to give them a shout out. They're the leads on this. You guys made the impossible happen. I thought I was actually giving Michael and David Hess an impossible idea, a task, as far as saying, come together with a interdisciplinary cluster idea. The collegiality that I saw from you and the others involved was incredible. We presented the idea to the president. The president has, of course, agreed to fund this. A significant investment, $15 million over 3 years, recruiting up to 15 to 20 new faculties. This is not existing, rearranging. This is actually new recruits. And just so you know, that actually together, the cluster under Babak's and Mark's leadership, they actually have one kind of joint recruiting kind of agency together that they're working with for the entire cluster. So we're very excited. Many of these researchers will be on the 4th floor of the new College of Science and Math building. But it doesn't stop there as far as research investments. And this is where I want to give a special shout out to the AU Finance Committee. I'm not sure if Russell Keene and Yvonne Turner, if you're in the room, they may not be, but I just want to give them a special shout out. Because, oh, they are there? Yvonne? Oh, Russell's in back. Okay. Oh, and Yvonne's over there as well. Those making financial decisions for the university often that's a really tough job, right? You're not going to please everyone. There's, of course, the need always exceeds what we're able to do. But through our conversations, everything from using lapse funds to reserves and other things, I'm really, really proud of the team where the president has approved this. We're in the midst of doing this now. Some of these have happened. Some of these have yet to come. But a total of $23.7 million. This does not include TRIBA, by the way. This is in addition to TRIBA. $23.7 million. And I just want to share with you some of the specifics. About $8 million of that are for our cores as far as new equipment. Dr. Diamond reached out to the core directors and associate deans for research and basically asked, what are your biggest equipment needs? We compiled that list, prioritized it, and we're in the process of funding these right now. So hopefully this shows our good faith as far as the leadership of the university and investing in the research mission of our university, making sure that our researchers have the best equipment so that they're competitive for grants. The new investments, though, don't stop there. And that same committee, again, with Russell and Yvonne's leadership and the president's approval, has in the process of making $13 million of investments in academic and student support and $6.1 million in institutional support. This is not an all-inclusive list of that, but I just wanted to share, I'm not going to go through this list by list, but just for example, digital dentistry, we're making about a $1 million investment in digital dentistry that will change how our students learn. It was interesting, when I met with the class presidents from DCG, this came up in that forum. Dr. Davies was in the room with me. They're like, I wish we would have technology, digital dentistry. I'm like, funny you say that. And so, again, we're able to do that. A lot of classroom refreshes, both IT and furniture, many of which you've already seen perhaps, or you'll start to see on Wednesday when you're teaching in classrooms. A lot of rooms, for example, University Hall and Allgood Hall. One thing that's not on this slide that I also want to mention is that we realize that there's often pressures on growing programs as far as, a lot of workload on faculty, or as we launch new programs. President Keel has also agreed to fund 17 new faculty positions across the university this year for growing programs or new programs. So I just want to thank you, President Keel, for that investment as well. All right. Well, let's turn back then. Oh, I'm going the wrong way here. Oh, close your eyes. You didn't see those slides. Well, let's turn now to our faculty and staff and drill down a little bit. And of course, our staff, we talked earlier about unsung heroes. I would say our staff often are in the same category. You can see we this was the trivia question, 4,748 staff. And the staff council has just been fantastic to work with. I would ask, if you're staff here today, please stand to be recognized. We want to thank you. All our staff here. You may not always think that we're watching, but we are, not in a creepy way, of course, but we are watching. And we see what you do behind the scenes, often without being asked, what you do to support our students and faculty. And I just want to thank you for that. With our faculty, you can see as well, we have 1,727 faculty. You can see the breakdown there as well. Our faculty body has become more diverse, but we still have work to do there. And I'll be touching that in a moment. Also, a subgroup of our faculty are the administrative faculty, department chairs, associate deans, and others that have a faculty appointment. And, those are tough, where you're trying to manage kind of two different roles, and we thank you for that. And we also want to congratulate those of you who were promoted this past year. A huge accomplishment for those of you also that received tenure. So those who are faculty in the room, please stand to be recognized. Now, I should have saying all along, those of you who are listening via or watching via line stream, you can stand up and down anytime you want, so I'm not watching. Collectively, what's our impact? Well, one way to measure that would be financially, and you can see this is impressive. Collectively, as a university, our total economic impact is $2.8 billion, 22,000 jobs, either direct or indirect, as well as you can see the spending of our students. Of course, this is more of a quantitative. You think of all the qualitative ways we impact individual lives, but collectively, we should be proud of that as well. We definitely have an economic impact in Augusta and beyond. All right, and then marketing and promotion. This is an interesting one where, if I'm being honest with you, about a year ago when I kind of became interested in Augusta and was talking to the search committee, when they first approached me, I was coming from Cincinnati. I had never heard of Augusta University, and I don't mean to offend anyone by saying that, but I think part of it was the name changes, just the confusion around that. Who are we? And so for me, I think also, as I found out, a lot of you are awfully humble people where you're doing great work. And, we need to do a better job of kind of showing others what we're doing as well. And so part of this has been, I've really enjoyed working with Kristen Engel and her team, of course, under the leadership of Carla Leeper. And how can we do a better job of promoting ourselves? And some of you were at the baseball stadium Thursday night, where it was the launch of Like No Other. Yes, maybe we're a little bit odd and strange, but we're certainly distinctive. And that Like No Other handle is, I think, really showcases who we are. And as well, I have to share some other things we've been doing. You may not know, but this summer, for the first time ever, we had electronic billboards in Atlanta, Savannah, and across South Carolina. Isn't that cool? So folks driving, alums, and others, they could see our name whether they're in Augusta or not. So, all right, so we've talked about an experience like no other. I'd like to kind of close talking about a future like no other. And of course, as President Keel has already talked about, we have a strategic plan for the university that's under construction. Again, you'll be getting that email as a reminder later today. But we're also doing some other planning. As, of course, you've heard President Keel say before, 16,000 by 2030. What this will do, Strategic Enrollment Management Plan, will provide the roadmap to get there. For example, you saw the previous stats about student retention, an area we need to work on. Well, this plan will develop strategies to help us retain those students, help them graduate, and be successful in their studies. So this is a big lift. You can see it's not like a 2-hour focus group and we move on. This is a significant effort. Dr. Davies is leading this out of her shop and really excited that this will generate us, again, the roadmap we need to develop to get to 16,000 students. A sub-piece of that's a little distinct, a little bit separate, is our academic program portfolio planning. That's a mouthful there. What does this mean? As I shared earlier, we have 154 programs, or we will by this time tomorrow. And so what this is doing a deep dive in each one of those programs and looking at, do we have some programs that have capacity for growth that we need to be investing more in, more faculty and staff that will really accelerate that enrollment growth? Or are there other degrees that we currently don't offer that our prospective students are looking for, that our workforce partners and employers want us to offer? And so this, again, will be a deep dive, again, helping with that roadmap to 16,000. Augusta University Online. Some of you may have also heard about this new initiative. We currently offer over 20 online programs here at AU, combination of undergrad, graduate, and certificate programs. But, it's fairly kind of random how they've been developed. Certainly, most are kind of led at the college level. We don't really have an infrastructure to provide support for that. And so we've been working with a consultant who's generated some recommendations that the president has accepted. And the key to this, the key take home, this is not it's creating a separate college, moving faculty over there. This is not becoming Arizona State University or the University of Central Florida or University of Phoenix. What this is providing high-tech, high-touch to our students, really providing our online students the same kind of concierge service that our freshman students receive here at AU. So it's providing an additional support to you as faculty. If you're a faculty member here teaching online, to support those students, whether it's an enhanced advising, enhanced retention services, or career development services. So we're really excited to launch this. This will be launched over the next year. We also have several very strategic initiatives about to happen. International strategy is the first one of these. We're currently looking at creating probably 3 to 4 key international partners that we can develop deep, meaningful, and sustainable relationships with. Now, yes, this includes study abroad, and this includes some faculty exchanges, but this is much deeper than that. This is involving the creation of joint research programs, potentially even joint degrees. And we're being very intentional. We're looking at our areas of strength and looking for international partners that share those same areas of strength. The first one that we've explored is rural health. Rural health, part of what we do. And so we have found 2 partners in Scotland, a very rural country. Unfortunately, fortunately, this is not the McKinnon Castle, because the McKinnon Castle is kind of has one wall standing up and a little bit of rubble. But we are partnering with these 2 universities in Scotland that there will be actually a virtual symposia in October, and Dr. Kelly here is leading those efforts. You saw my previous slide about the diversity of our faculty body. Clearly, we have work to do in that area. It does not match the diversity seen in our student body, nor of our community. And so early on, I charged Drs. Townsend and Browder to essentially look at best practices. How could we, what are our initiatives we could do to enhance that? They present this at the Budget and Planning Resource Alignment hearings. President Keel is supportive. And we're in the process of doing kind of final refinement of those strategies. It was presented at the Dean's Council Friday. This afternoon, it'll be presented at the Faculty Senate Executive. So I don't want to steal his thunder, but President Keel will be announcing more specifics about this in the following weeks. And then finally, we talked about our research growth. 2 other areas that we're kind of drilling down a little bit on our research enterprise is the facilities. And under the leadership of Dr. Carla Leeper and Ron Booth, we're looking at, what's the next research building we need to build? How do we support our existing research infrastructure? What's the right combination of wet lab and dry lab space? Those sorts of questions. And also, we're looking at what are the kinds of research tactics and strategies that will help us with that growth. And this fall, there'll be 2 research retreats led by Dr. Michael Diamond to help drill us down on those strategies. Faculty workload. Now, this was a gift I received from Provost Kaufman. And in all sincerity, she had commissioned a task force. They had 7 recommendations. For those of you that were personally involved in this, thank you. I've accepted all 7 recommendations, and we're in the process of implementing them. I know this is kind of a busy slide. Kathy Browder, of course, is the lead on this, and working with the Faculty Senate and other key stakeholders. And the goal of this, I think, is about expectations and alignment. What do I mean by that? That it should be very clear to you if you're a new or current faculty member at AU, you know your breakdown, your duties, what you're assigned to do, and that should align with annual performance evaluations and should align with tenure promotion criteria. And so that's what we're trying to accomplish with that, is that perfect alignment. So it's not a surprise, right? That you know exactly how you're being evaluated, where you're spending your time, and making sure we have some consistency across the university. Student support initiatives. I think for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through all these, but I just wanted to let you know we have a number of new initiatives to support our students. I'll just mention maybe the first couple. Expansion of the Writing Center. We've added new staffing. We're looking at expanded space. Just want to thank the English department for the key role that you play in that. And then also creating a pre-health student advising center. Specialized advising for undergraduate students that are interested in a career in healthcare. Of course, we're going to have a party next month. You're all invited to this. I see Dean Sutherland here. So Dean Sutherland, is it okay if we crash your building? So this will be on September 30th from 4 to 6 p.m. Looking forward to that. If you've not seen that building yet, of course, you can go there before. We're not going to stop you. There's no security there. But it is a glorious building. The research labs, the space there, the teaching labs, it really is a fantastic building. And look forward to that party in September. And then, of course, the tartan, right? We have to talk about this as well. So we do have an official tartan now. Hopefully that you've all received a gift when you came in. You'll be seeing more products with this. Now, yes, okay, this is kind of a fun thing. But part of this is about establishing the university brand, right? And if you look at many universities have their own tartan. It's one of several things that's part of their brand. That's part of what we're trying to accomplish here, too. So we're having some fun with it at the same time. And of course, Dr. Davies, Dean Davies, thank you for I've been added to the official Lego display in JSEG as well. So that was a sweet moment for me. So again, we've talked about a calling like no other. We've shared kind of the past year an experience like no other. And hopefully have you inspired about our future like no other. I think we've got so much good things planned for this next year and beyond. So with that, one thing we did with the invitation went out was the opportunity for you to submit questions. And so we have some questions that my friend, Rayshawn Ricks, please give him an applause as he comes up here. So I talked about the podcast, right? And so we actually, our official AU podcast is In the Wild, and that's hosted, again, by my friend here, Rayshawn Ricks. So he's going to ask some of those questions, and we're going to kind of move to a town hall format, if that's okay.
So welcome, everyone, to our Wild Side Chat. Like Dr. McKinnon said, I'm Rayshawn Ricks. I am the host of In the Wild podcast, and we are about 1.5 years old. So I know some of you have been on our podcast, so thank you so much. But for those who are unfamiliar, we are very candid, and we like to include everyone on the university to come to our podcast and talk. And Dr. McKinnon was one of our first guests back in January. I think it was his first week that he had came on. So now we get to grill him again with some more questions. So just getting started, and this is like one of my personal burning questions. How was your first Georgia summer? Like, how have you been handling the heat?
Yeah, well, as I shared, originally from Canada, so a hot summer day in Nova Scotia is probably 75. Moving from Cincinnati was a bit of a change as well. But hey, I'll take the other 3 nice seasons for that. I have to share this. So yesterday, some of you that follow me on Instagram would have seen the picture. We had a floaty that my wife bought, and she didn't really like the feel of it. And so we put our dog in the floaty. He fell asleep. He was floating around the pool. He was all cool, a little bit wet. So at least our dog is happy anyway.
Okay.
Family, so.
So one out of the McKinnon household is happy with the heat.
That's right.
Because just following our University Rain campaign, I feel like Georgia has heat like no other. It's crazy. But switching gears a little bit, could you share a little more updates about the strides in diversity and inclusion and equity at the university?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned earlier, Rayshawn, certainly as I was doing my listening tour, that was a theme that came up over and over again. I remember was one student who graduated in May, where said, her 4 years here, she never had another faculty member that looked like her. And I mean, it was one of those moments that kind of, hits you as an individual. And so it clearly is an area we need to do more on. I believe the initiative that, again, Drs. Townsend and Browder are leading around increasing the diversity of the faculty will help move the needle, but clearly that's only part of it. We also, some of you may have completed a campus climate survey last year, and so we're going to be looking at the results from that in the coming months and seeing how we can do things differently. And then I think as President Keel shared, one of those foundational things in our new strategic plan is diversity, equity, inclusion. So we need to look at each of those 5 buckets, whether it's research and discovery, whether it's student engagement, where does DE&I fit within that?
Absolutely. And what do you recommend to prevent faculty and staff from experiencing COVID burnout? Because we've been in this pandemic for, unfortunately, almost 2 years now, and we're starting a new semester, somewhat new normal. So what do you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. I mean, I wish I had all the answers. It's you definitely. I think we all feel it, right? I think especially those of us in academia, we like to kind of have control over things, right? We're like experts in our field or our subject matter area. And frankly, COVID's an area where we've all lost control. We can, again, as the guidelines change, we're not sure what the CDC is going to say next week. We're not sure what the numbers will be next week. So that's challenging. I can share on a personal level, I haven't seen my parents in 2 years. I met with a faculty member on Friday who said both his mom and dad passed away from COVID in January. So, I think if you're feeling, kind of stressed, maybe not recognize you're burned out. Maybe it's others around you that say, maybe you need some help. We are trying to provide some resources. I know Susan Norton in HR with the Well-Being Committee, they have resources. The USG does as well. But and I believe she's going to be making a presentation to the President's Executive Cabinet about kind of working conditions and such coming up as well. But no, I think the main thing we can just do is acknowledge it's an issue, be aware of it, and just each one of us assess ourselves. How are we doing?
Absolutely. And what is your vision for classic humanity disciplines like history and English in the university's future? Because like you said, we do have a future like no other.
Yeah. Well, again, we are a comprehensive university. So even though, hey, I'm a pharmacist and a healthcare researcher, let me just say right now, the humanities play a vital role in that. We can't be a comprehensive university without them. I mentioned earlier, just for example, the key role of the English department in our writing center. Our history department, kind of their key role with restoring kind of the guardhouse on the Somerville campus. So, it's interesting just looking at some of our enrollment figures for this fall. English actually has been pretty steady the last number of years. History actually is up. So we actually have, last year we had 71 history students. This fall we have 80. And so maybe we're bucking a bit of a national trend there. But whether it's English, whether it's history, whether it's dentistry, whether it's education, at the end of the day, we certainly need to make sure that we're providing a clear career path to our students. And, I was actually asked a similar question in my interview, for those of you that might remember that last fall. And I'll give the same answer I gave then is, again, that career path is important. So for our history program, for example, could we create internships where our history students get to spend time with curators in museums as far as a career path? English, is there a career path in medical writing or other writing that builds upon our existing strengths here? So, and again, that's not unique to history or English. We all need to look at for each one of our degrees. If our students are going to commit 4 years of their life here at a cost, we need to ensure that we're providing them a future as well.
As someone who has had a bunch of interns work with me on the podcast, I can definitely say students are amazing here at our university. So if y'all don't have an intern, y'all can even reach out to me because I can show you what to do to get like an awesome intern. So they are just lifesavers. But switching gears a little bit to a few months back, as a pharmacist, how was it to formalize the articulation agreement with the University of Georgia's College of Pharmacy?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because even I heard some rumors that, President Keel has hired a pharmacist provost. I guess it means we're going to start a pharmacy school. We had never, he could vouch for that. We never even talked about the subject. So clearly that was not on the radar at all. What folks, may not realize, we actually have an ongoing relationship with UGA. They actually have a building right on our campus where third and fourth year pharmacy students complete a lot of their rotations here in Augusta. So I knew certainly Dean Kelly Smith from UGA from my previous role. She's a fantastic individual. And so what we did, Rayshawn, was really just to finalize that agreement, sign it. And the good part is it's a win for our AU students. Our AU students now that are interested in doing their PharmD at UGA, this shaves a year off their education. And so it's a win for our students, which, again, if you think about it, it's the most important thing we can be doing. So I think what we're going to do is continue to strengthen that relationship. So, yeah, no new pharmacy school here at AU. You heard it first.
You heard it here first, folks. And as you mentioned in your presentation before, you've done a lot of traveling outside of Augusta since you've been here. What has been your favorite place outside of the CSRA?
That might be the easiest question you asked the entire time. McKinnon, right? McKinnon, Georgia. So I don't know if you want solitude, if you want quiet, if you like pine trees, McKinnon's the place for you. So I would suggest, Rayshawn, we can do a road trip there together.
Sure, I'm down. And just as a still somewhat new JAG, what has been your favorite part of the university?
That might be your most loaded question.
Yes.
Man, how do I escape that one? Man, I'm going to tick somebody off by...
there is a wrong answer.
Well, I'm going to do a bit of suck up here. Of course, being part of the In the Wild podcast, that was how do I ever top that?
Sure, this is your last moment to shout out anyone else before they get jealous.
I'll stick with my answer.
Okay. Well, that was pretty much everything that I had. Thanks for always being an amazing host. And thank all of you for joining us today. I hope y'all are excited about the new semester and just a new chapter in our university's history. And if you enjoyed our Wildside Chat, In the Wild is available on Apple, Spotify, and our university's new app, JAG Mobile. So if you haven't already, go ahead and download it. And for those who are interested in a tour of our Security Operations Center, you can exit in the back. We have a hand waved up for y'all to make your exit. And for everyone else, you're welcome to walk down, meet me, and then head over to lunch in our building across the courtyard. Thanks, everyone.